Welcome back to Marvel Maniac, an MCU after show. My name is Eric Cicada, aka Mr. Honest, your host. So, it is episode 2 of WandaVision, and I have a lot more notes for this episode than I did the last one. I don't know if that is necessarily because it felt like there was a little bit more to this one, now that we are settled in. The first one kind of established where we were, and without me knowing maybe a little bit more where we're going. And this episode had a lot more moments and gave us a little bit more time with the characters, and there's a lot of stuff happening. It's a lot more subtle than I think a lot of people are going to have hoped. But I really hope that maybe as fans of the MCU can just put our faith in this show and just give it a chance and see where it goes, because the story is unfolding, and I'm very, very curious on where it's going. And I think that's what any good show should be doing, and having me ask that question. So as we move forward in this episode of Marvel Maniac, I want to say that this is all the same night. The first 2 episodes, I watched the first one, did the episode 1, got it, the podcast all up and running and everything, because you have to have the first episode up before you can even submit podcast anywhere. That's the boring stuff. Anyway, this is the same night. It's very late, but I'm so excited about the MCU being back. Just seeing those opening credits again, and being just back in the mix of the Marvel Universe, however, in whatever form it may be, in whatever way, you know what I mean? Okay, so there was a moment that I didn't talk about in the first episode. It was very subtle. Wanda was talking to Ethel, and she said, "My husband and his indestructible head." I mean, that's man. That's pretty sad. I mean, it hits hard now that I think about it, because his head gets ripped open. We've seen it, which is disturbing. And knowing how much these characters love each other, learning how much these characters love each other, it's getting more and more disturbing. And these characters love each other. We could see that. There's an honest connection that they have with each other on screen. And that being said, why do these characters sleep in separate beds? It's one of the first scenes, if not the first scene of the show. They're in separate twin beds. I don't know if that was common in the era. What's that about? Maybe you could tell me. Let me know. I found that a little weird, but then they kind of cleaned the beds together in a cute fashion. So I don't know. Maybe that was just why. I don't know. But anyway, the cartoon opening is kind of adorable. It's Vision and Wanda, and they are just little cartoon versions of themselves, doing their daily little things. And yeah, I like that. I found it kind of endearing. I did like that. The premise of this episode is Vision and Wanda are entering a talent show, and they're going over a couple tricks in the beginning, and Vision's magician name is Illusion. His magician name is Illusion. I like that. Maybe, alternate universe. That's his real name. Wanda reminds Vision that this talent show fundraiser is the most important event of the season. She wants to use it to appear normal because of their hidden powers. So, their powers from the MCU have fully transferred into this show, and they're just trying to cover it up. Wanda seems to be building a world for herself, and there's a lot of hints in this episode that the outside world is calling to her, wherever she may be at this point in time when she is manifesting this in her head. I do believe this is Wanda's projection. I do believe the Vision is there in part, because when Wanda was touching Vision with the stone, to break the stone, there was a big connection between him and her, and I don't know, maybe that moment could have lied in infinite. There was infinite time in that moment, in which this series takes place, but I have no idea. It doesn't seem to be going that way, from what it's hinting so far. I have no idea. That's what's kind of cool about it. Okay, so Vision's really hilarious. I didn't expect him to be so funny. He's very goofy and wacky. In this episode especially, he has a reason to be a little bit more wacky. Vision's always had like funny moments in the movie where he like lifts Thor's hammer. Great moment. But he really kind of shines in this. If they put him in a leotard, I wrote in my notes, if they put him in that leotard, I'd probably die. I'd be dead. Yeah. Wanda hears a bang, and she goes outside. Okay, this is where like kind of like the sitcom-y vibe again, like the last episode. We get a moment of like Wanda being kind of like paranoid, and the tone really shifts. And she goes to her rose bush, and there's something colorful in it. So she like walks up to it really slowly, and it's like a little helicopter. And I don't know if anyone else notices. It's Iron Man colors. I don't know if that I don't know. If good storytelling, like a show like Breaking Bad, has told me anything, and with everything that they're putting into the show and all the hints that they put in the MCU, I don't think anything is a coincidence. So, it was Iron Man colors. That was just my first thought. She's very concerned by this. Not that they're Iron Man colors, just that there was color in general. And again, on the helicopter, there's a symbol with the upside down cross. It could be like an upside down cross or a sword on it. So I don't know what that is. If that is from one of the movies, it's not the 9 rings, or is that what I'm right? Is it the 9 rings or 12 rings? It's Shang-Chi. I think it's 9. I'm gonna get a lot of corrections here. I'm not perfect. I'm a watch as you go. So you're getting my blank take here, and I'm sorry if I get a couple things wrong. I'm happy to hear your corrections. Just please do it in a nice way. Okay. Marvel Maniac Pod at gmail.com with your comments, theories, thoughts. Did I miss something? We're not done yet. I just throwing that in there. Okay, so that moment kind of breaks up with Ethel showing up, and Wanda kind of buries the helicopter thing, and Ethel reminds Wanda that this lady Dottie is like this big deal, and she needs to impress her, and that's like where we go next. Wanda is at this meeting, and they're like kind of planning the talent show, and Dottie makes a chair pun, and that was okay. Dottie is a bad word. It was my first impression of Dottie, and I don't know. After watching a little bit of that scene, it's etiquette class. Actually, they're not planning a talent show. It was etiquette class. I thought at first they were like maybe planning the talent show. They were taking etiquette classes. I think I might need etiquette classes. Man, do they offer etiquette classes anymore? There's probably an etiquette class podcast somewhere I can find. Not going to start too far on topic. Vision finds a group of guys at the library, and he has a little bit of a hard time fitting in. He gets offered a Danish, and he never eats, obviously, because he's a machine, but he has to like kind of brush that off. He doesn't want everyone to know he's a robot. Obviously, he's kind of trying to hide that. He doing his best to get in with the guys. He's not really fitting in with them. He makes a jab at one of the guys, and he's like, Norm's a communist, and all the guys laugh, and he wins them over for a moment. And one of the guys offers Vision a piece of gum, and Vision takes it and swallows it on accident, and this is where everything goes crazy for Vision. Sitcom-y craziness ensues. We see this little cartoony animation of the gum going down into Vision's gears and it getting all caught up. So like Vision's he's in for a little bit of a ride here, and I thought this was hilarious. I didn't know what I was getting with this show, and I'm sure many of you I don't know. I didn't watch the trailers too often, so for those of you who broke down the trailers, maybe watched it 100 times, maybe we're a little more in for this, but like I was kind of expecting it to like kind of like drop a little sitcom and like really get into some nitty gritty, like Marvel Universe superhero-y stuff. I thought the sitcom was kind of a facade for what the show really was, and not to say that can't still happen. There's still a good number of episodes left. There's still time for the story to unfold. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So, cut back to Wanda with Dottie, and Wanda's making all these hilarious, priceless faces behind Dottie's back. Elizabeth Olsen, you were hilarious. Dottie mentions that she's heard things about Wanda and Vision, and moment kind of starts to tense up, and Wanda says that she doesn't mean any harm, and Dottie says that she doesn't believe her. Directly to her face. Then the radio goes on the fritz, and real intense moment, and someone comes over the radio and asks, who is doing this to you, Wanda? Wanda, who is doing this to you, Wanda? And to me, it sounds like Steve Rogers, Captain America, Chris Evans. It sounds to me. Did anybody else think that? I don't know. I really thought that. I even rewound it and listened to it again at that moment, and I'm like, I didn't think of anybody else. Who do you think it was? I don't know. I really thought it was Cap. I know Cap is technically not really here anymore, but I don't know. There was a news article released today that Chris Evans is in the works of maybe possibly doing more Marvel stuff. Can I get an amen for a movie about him returning those Infinity Stones? Does anybody else want to see that? I do a Dr. Phil impression on my other podcast, and I think that's seeping in here a little bit. I want to see that movie where Chris Evans Captain America brings those Infinity Stones back in time to all those significant events and has occurrences with characters in different points in time, and maybe saves Black Widow from death, and also he has a face-off with Red Skull, his original villain from his first movie. Why not end the Captain America series where he faces down his old villain, and who knows what Red Skull's up to after Thanos' death? Who knows what's going on with that? I think there's so much more Captain America story to be told. Even though we see him as an old man, there's a lot that could happen with Cap, and there's a lot of alternate timelines that could be splitting off. I don't know. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. There's rumors, lots of rumors going around. This could go anywhere. I think it's Captain America. I think there's more Cap coming up, and I do think that's who's asking Wanda, who's doing this to you. Because I don't know. I don't know if it's Steve Rogers. I'm like so hung up on that, and I'm sure many of you are too. But that moment, after that moment, it ends. Dottie smashes her glass in her hand, and she bleeds red blood. So it's like, the colors are starting to seep into the black and white world. It's reminding me a lot of the movie Pleasantville with Tobey Maguire. I don't know how many of you have seen that. Great movie. Go check it out. That Spider-Man might be a multiverse away from being in an MCU movie with Tom Holland Spider-Man. I would love that. Yeah, I told you lots of other MCU stuff gonna be dripping in this because, man, where else, right? And then we're theorizing on where this is gonna go, where this is gonna take the series. But let's just take it one beat at a time, okay? After this Pleasantville moment, we get this ad, and like I didn't mention, we had that one of these in the first episode. It was like this ad. It was for a toaster, and we find out it was like a Stark toaster. This episode, it was a watch advertisement for Strucker, and it had the Hydra symbol on it. Ooh, little Easter eggs. I'm liking these. I'm sure we're going to get another one or two of these. I don't know if they're going anywhere or they're just little Easter eggs. We'll see. I like it. So Vision arrives to the talent show, and, he got the gum stuck in his gears. Again, we see this little cartoony animation. I'm liking this little integration. It's cool. And Wanda just wants to kind of like tell Vision what's going on, but he's basically drunk. So basically instead of Wanda being able to tell Vision that she saw blood in Dottie's hand, and she's seeing these weird colorful occurrences, she has to pretty much be Vision's drunk wingman, which I didn't know was something I needed to see. hilarious. I know I'm saying hilarious a lot. I mean, I had my laughs in the episode. I'm just gonna say it once. Wanda in the leotard, Caitlin Olsen, you are beautiful. That's all. I'll get it off my chest. That's it. You're beautiful. Okay, that's it. I said it. Vision is doing all these magic tricks that are like way too real, and like the crowd is reacting to them in a very like cautious way, like, okay, this is kind of weird. And Wanda keeps like covering up, like Vision's floating, and Wanda puts a thing above him, and it makes it look like he was hanging, but like that wasn't there. He was actually floating. And like he lifts this giant piano, and then like she turns it into cardboard. And like it keeps getting more like, oh man, how is she gonna explain this? Like he puts his hand through himself, and then like everyone's like, what the fuck? And then like mirrors, Wanda pulls out like a curtain, and there's a bunch of mirrors, and like everyone just accepts it. Like even Dottie was like, don't ask questions, it's great. I just couldn't believe that they managed to pull off their magic set. They pulled a lady out of a closet. She was even like, hey, I just appeared from one place to another. How did you do that? And Vision was like, a magician never reveals his secrets. So simple as that. They pulled it off, and Wanda impressed Dottie, just like Ethel advised. So Wanda did impress Dottie. She says they were the most hilarious act ever, and they win like the talent show of the year award, and it all works out well. Back at home, Wanda and Vision start to share an intimate moment, and they start to talk about having a baby, and all of a sudden Wanda's just pregnant. And it happens instantly. And Wanda's like, are we doing this? And Vision was like, yeah, we're doing this. And we'll just accept that. But then there's like this bang outside, okay? We all know this. I mean, I'm just recapping. But like, these weird things happening. So I have to like kind of go through beat by beat, because like, we're getting story, and then we're getting like a whole other story out of nowhere, and these worlds are colliding, and now it's kind of like getting kind of interesting. Okay, what the heck is going on here? They hear the bang. I'm wondering if there's going to be like another helicopter. This time there's like a dark, creepy shot of the street outside their house, and like out of a manhole in the street comes this like bee man. He has a target on his back. He comes up from the sewer, and Wanda just says no, and then like a tape rewinds to the moment before the bang outside, and like the bang doesn't happen, and then Vision, all of a sudden his head is colorful, like, and he's not like man Vision, he's regular Vision with the Infinity Stone in his head, and then all of a sudden the whole world starts to become colorful. And they embrace each other, and that bang doesn't happen again. So Wanda is doing something. I think she's controlling this, really. I don't think the show is fully wanting us to lean us to believe. But she did say no, and then the tape rewound. And then like, they embrace each other. The episode ends, but then right at the end of the episode, again, we just hear that same line. Wanda, who's doing this to you, Wanda? Over and over again. Well, we just hear it once, but he says Wanda a couple times. Man, I wish I could pull out any better prediction than Captain America. I really think that's who it is. That gets me insanely excited for what's to come in this show. And that's it. That's the episode. It was a little bit meatier, like I said. Maybe I'll stop using the word meaty. It was mightier. How about I say mightier? That's more superhero-y. Meatier is a little, I don't know, a little raunchy. I don't know. But this has been Marvel Maniac, an MCU after show for WandaVision. And I am so excited that you came here. I really appreciate you stopping by. What are your thoughts on this episode? Email me, marvelmaniacpod@gmail.com. You might get read on the show. Rate, review the show, leave a comment in the section. Don't, No, not necessary, but it would go a long way, and we'd really appreciate it if you like the show. That's all I ask. And until then, with our new catchphrase, Avengers Dissemble. We'll see you next time.